Hello, welcome to Diary of a Creator. I am Victoria, the soul-led career coach, and this is a space for ambitious, freedom-seeking souls like me who refuse to settle for the ordinary. So if you are feeling stuck in a life or a career that no longer fits, you're starting to question your path and you're craving something more freedom, more alignment, more fulfillment, then you are in the right place. And if my content resonates, I would love it if you could like, share, subscribe, follow. It helps me to reach more souls who need this message. So, today I wanted to talk about something that has been a reflection point for me in recent weeks or recent months. And it has a lot to do with the soul led path, the career, and really anything that we almost deem that we do not have. And I call it the trap of seeking, which is really this energy or this premise that we move through life thinking once I have this, then I'm going to be happy, then I'm going to feel fulfilled. The reality is, this type of egoic thinking is very much a trap, and it can have us going one of two ways. One where we're just in this continual, perpetual desire for what we do not have in life, which causes a lot of suffering because we're deeming that something is outside of us and we can't reach it. So if you have anything like that, and you feel that it's always suffering from the desire of not getting what you want. On the flip end, we have where you do actually get what you wanted, or so you perceive, but you find pretty quickly that whatever you thought it would feel like, it doesn't feel like that. And this can be a massive trickery in careers and life, and also the soul led path as well, because we need to get clear on why we're going for certain things and what we're truly wanting. I was noticing it happens in a couple of ways. And if you resonate with a lot of the other content on this channel, you are likely coming from the same type of ego conditioning pattern that I have, which is the overachiever, not enough type of energy, which struggles to be content, struggles to really sit and feel and enjoy what you have achieved before you go and run to find the next thing. And this perpetual seeking this is how our society is structured on more, more, more. It's this chasing energy that never lets us sit still, rest, and just be, which is why it's this big trap. And so, obviously, I've taken the soul led path, followed fulfillment, the heart, and all of these things. But of recent, I've been noticing that a lot of these seeking patterns have come up in me. Last year, and I've been very honest about this, last year was just full of financial struggle. I potentially leaped a little bit too early, potentially not as practical as I should have been. However, I know that this was a soul lesson for me, as difficult as it was. So coming into this year, I'm like, nah, no more, no more. Because last year, that kind of financial pressure put just a lot of weight and cloud over everything. And it became an immediate pain point, as it will, because the lower you go into survival needs, the more of a pain point it is going to be to solve. And so I started the year off diving very deep into energy work, alchemy work, and really going into the energetics of it. Through that process, I landed a very stable financial position, which gave me literally what I asked for, but even more abundance, even more money. But what I put out was, I want space and time to create. I want enough finances to be stable so that it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. It lands. I'm excited as fuck because everything I asked for and was creating landed. Now, the interesting thing is, the moment that this landed, the pressure that I felt to find financial stability started creeping into other areas. The pressure almost went from there, and then it quickly transferred into, oh my God, I don't have enough time for the business. All this pressure to be working in the business doing this, and then just total and complete overwhelm, like system overwhelm pressure. So very little time was spent there just going, oh my gosh, and slowly building up. The pressure just went from one thing to the next, which became about not having enough money. Then it became about not having enough time. It's still the same seeing is still this seeking. I was like, this is interesting because it was such a focus for such a long time. It lands, and then the pressure just transfers over to the next thing, which got me thinking, does this pressure ever disappear? And from an egoic sense, no, it doesn't. And I'm going to dig into that. And why does this relate to career? Because if you're not in the career or the path that you want right now, you're going to be feeling this pressure, but you're going to be loading on top of that pressure all of these things that this getting it is going to give you. And the reality is, the ego isn't designed to be fulfilled. The ego is designed to seek what is wrong and keep filling it. So you might get it and then find quite quickly that there's another problem to solve. There's this desire of not having what you want, which causes suffering. If you notice this energy within you, what you'll notice is that energy of longing and desire for what you do not have actually stops you focusing on what you do have. And the more you're in the craving energy of what you don't have, you're literally perpetuating what you don't have. Everything has the same ebbs and flows in life. And what we're actually seeking from what is outside, so career, freedom-based life, partnership, whatever, we have this idea in our head that it's going to magically solve what we're truly, truly longing for. But the reality is that from the egoic sense, it's not. Because we're very quickly going to transfer onto another thing. And I am going to explain why this happens. This is where I've been this week. And I know many, if not every single human, will relate to seeking, but really, is seeking making us miserable? When it comes to soul led, I think it can often be the case because a lot of people come into the desire to find a soul led career and life through seeking deeper meaning and fulfillment, because fundamentally you feel unfulfilled in your current life. But these things don't come about through the achievement or the external accolades. Feeling, meaning, fulfillment, love, these are internal states of being. They are internal feelings. What we've been programmed to believe is that in order to feel these internal feelings, we have to get things from outside of us to give it to us. So if you think of a partnership, what is a partnership going to give you? Love and belonging. We're going to get that from them rather than from actually truly coming to the realization that those things are internal states of being. And it's not about not desiring these things, and it's most certainly not about not stepping into a soul-led career or just staying where you are. Rather, it's about how do we create what we want from a space of wholeness rather than from a space of trying to complete what we feel we are missing. I'm a work in progress on this, which is part of the reason why I called this Diary of a Creator, to explain what is going on here with this trap of seeking. We have our ego and then we have our soul, our heart. Our ego is set to keep us safe, to keep us surviving. By that nature, the egoic mind is programmed to look for danger. It's programmed to spot what is wrong and what needs fixing because it is literally geared that way. It's geared to look for, what do I need to fix in this environment to feel better in it? What do I need to fix about me to fit into this environment so that I can be the safest possible? By that nature, it also runs off a belief that we are inviolable in some shape or form. There is something incomplete about us that we need to fix. And this is where we get to the shadow beliefs and different patterns that we run. All of us are running from a place that we are incomplete, and there is something we need to do to complete ourselves. So it's quite literally programmed to find ways to fix us and to get what we need because it assumes that we don't already have it. Love, approval, belonging, safety, or whatever your background is, whatever has been really triggered in your experience is naturally where you're going to feel a sense of lack. And so this Born out of this is a nature of constantly seeking, constantly trying to do things, fix yourself, be with other people, all of these things, because ultimately what your ego is trying to do is satiate the hunger that it is not complete. And so if you take my examples, obviously financial is a safety thing. And you would think, and this is the trick, you would think that by getting the survival need met, that would be enough for the ego. Our ego is living in this perpetual hunger. It's a hunger that can never fully be satiated. If you imagine just eating and still feeling hungry, that's the kind of energy that this part of us is running off. It is trying to eat the food in the form of whatever it is, career love, to try and get the feeling that it's after. So, say with a partnership, a feeling of being loved, it's trying to satiate it by eating something from the out. But the system keeps emptying because it's never going to work. It's never going to satiate it because it's running off the belief that it can't be satiated because it's incomplete. I had to pause to get this quote. This is from my alchemy practice, alchemy studies. And this quote really sums it up. Most of what we want isn't truly related to what you love, but mostly about completing yourself. Another way the ego will do this with the seeking is say whatever goal you have that you're going towards. If you are running life from this space, what you are actually doing is everything you were going for it because you feel you need to complete something about yourself. On the other end of whatever you're wanting, your ego is trying to almost fill your bucket from what it perceives it's lacking. And that thing outside of you is going to fill the bucket. But it can never fill the bucket because the ego is running off a belief that the bucket is empty and it's always going to keep emptying no matter what you get. And herein lies this seeking trap where we get caught of once I have this, then I'll be happy once I've got that. But you will very quickly realize either one, you get it and you don't feel that for very long at least, and then you're on to the next thing, or the desire for it not coming just creates a lot of suffering. And so when we're running from this space, we think we're going after what we want. We think that the career, the relationship, the money, all of these things are going to give us the feeling that we're actually craving. It's not that we don't want these things, and I'm going to put a reflection in so you can actually get clear if you do want it out of pure love or it is something that you're going for in order to complete yourself. Because the reality is, a lot of people who do embark on the soul-led career are actually seeking legacy and recognition and having a voice and all of these things. And I'm not saying that didn't play out for me because it did too. But if you continue in that cycle of, I want this because I want people to see me in a certain way, I want to have a legacy, leave a voice, you can do that. But if fulfillment, happiness, and peace are the goals, that's not the way because you're not actually going for what you want. You're going down a path of being validated because you feel incomplete with it. And so, as I said, it's not that you don't want these things. I very much want soul-led career, freedom-based life. But the thing I want more is to really, truly feel peace and contentment with what I have created without the need to then perpetually go and find something else. The recognition from me is that it doesn't matter what I do, it's how I feel about it. And it kind of got me thinking a lot of the stuff we go for and we're trying to resolve this feeling of unfulfillment. We get it and we're still feeling that unfulfillment. What's the point? And so, really, we're taught through the function of the egoic mind that everything in this world is separate. We are separate. And this is really the root of where this comes from, is that we are all separate and orientating ourselves in an environment. We'll need to survive in that environment, but we are separate to the environment, which starts to create this dynamic of seeking. Because through the nature of being separate from the whole, we're not whole, we're incomplete. And we're part of the whole, but we are not the whole. Most of us, if like our 98% is what Neil Donald Walsh said, are running around trying to complete ourselves through the things that we do, the people that we draw in, the relationships we enter, the money we attract, all of these things or experiences outside of us. We're trying to complete ourselves. The way we're trying to complete ourselves is we're wanting to feel whole, fulfilled, peace, happiness, joy, all of these things. But because we come in to this world with an egoic mind, and the way that this world is structured right now, it feeds off of this, because this is where the root of suffering is, feeling that we are separate and we need to fill our bucket. We run around chasing these things. If you resonate with that and you're chasing things and then you get them and you're on to the next thing super quick and you still feel the same feelings that you felt before, then you are running around trying to complete yourself. You are not actually running after what you truly love, want, and actually desire from a soul and a heart-led perspective, which is an interesting and quite deep reflection and something to really sit with, because even though when I really sit from my heart and soul, my path is right, but my ego still has a way of coming in to dampen the path and to make it feel duller than it really should. And it does this because, and this is where we need to catch ourselves, this is me moving down the right path, but anchoring how it feels based on what I'm receiving from other people rather than from what I'm feeling. Just asking this question and really sitting with it. If you were to assume that you are already whole and complete, which you are, but the ego does not believe that. So, and this is the thing, we are always operating in this tension of, there is a part of us that feels separate, is in fear, wants survival, wants safety, and we have a part of us that knows we are whole and complete, that is our most expansive potential. We will always have these two within us, but where we put our focus is where our life will go. So if you would assume you were already whole and complete, you start tapping into the energy of your heart and your soul. Would you still want what you want? And if so, why? Why do you want it? What is it ultimately going to give you? Because if you cannot answer that clearly in a feeling, it's not answers like, I want more money, I want safety. It's like, genuinely, what will a soul-led career give you? And feel into that. And would you still want it if you were whole and complete? Because there's a lot of things that I've dropped along the way where there is service, but they were service from validation, not service from what actually fits my soul. And this is the difference. So sit with that reflection and really be honest about that, and really look at why you want the things that you want, and name the emotion and what it's going to give you. Take financial stability, right? Now, there's two lenses to that for me. One is an ego-driven lens, and the other one is a whole and complete lens. From the ego lens, if I was to say, why do I want it? It would be safety and security. By and large, those are egoic needs, because you're assuming that you're not safe and secure as you are. Now, from a whole and complete lens, why would I want that stability? I would want that stability for space. I would want that stability for energy expansion. So it's similar, because the security allows particularly feminine energy to be safe and expansive, but it's a different anchoring. It's a totally different energy. I want it for space and energy expansion, or I want it for security and safety. Even then, if you can feel the energy of those things, they're very different. Now, my focus could be on fulfilling either one of those. If I'm trying to anchor into fulfilling the need for expansion and space, and how it's going to feel is very different to if I anchor in, I need safety and security. Already, I feel that drop in my body. If I'm going to be going from this way, it's just perpetuating that I'm not safe and secure because it's putting it outside of me onto this thing that comes to me rather than actually feeling that within. When I come from an energy where I'm wanting space and expansion, I'm already assuming I'm safe and secure. I'm still going for the same thing, but I'm not perpetuating that I'm not safe and secure because that's not what I'm anchored on wanting. I'm wanting space and expansion, knowing that the safety and security is part of that, if that makes sense. That literally just came out of my mouth from nowhere. But you are already whole and complete. And the whole entire purpose of a soul led journey is to come into that realization and to truly tap into that. You are not here to do all of these things to prove that you are whole and complete. You don't have any obligation to be in a big service role. You have an obligation to your soul and the realization that you are already whole and complete. There is nothing you need to do. That is the whole point of the journey. You already have what you were searching for. And this is the dichotomy. And this takes a little while to really sit with it. Ultimately, what you want is not the thing, it's what that thing is going to make you feel about you. Even relationships are not even really about the other person, they're about how the other person makes you feel. If you think about it that way, if you've even just sat in things where you've stepped into certain feelings or memories and you feel your body evoke the emotion, you can start to understand that your body and mind already have the capability to feel exactly what you want to feel. You're just perceiving that it has to come from something outside of you to feel that. But you control this. It's not determinant on something else. It's quite literally a feeling that is chemically driven from within you. And so it might not feel like it, that what you were searching for is already within you. And sometimes when I'm in my ego, I'm just like, oh, fuck off with all this spiritual shit. But it is the truth when you truly break it down. It might not feel like it because that's not what we're taught. That's not how we're taught to anchor our life. We're taught to anchor our life through seeking outside of us, but not actually going within to understand what we're truly seeking and realizing that it actually is already there. We're taught to outsource everything and find it outside of us. What you desire and what you seek is a very good indication of where you feel you are lacking. So really sit and ask yourself and reflect, for everything that you want, what will it give you? What are you ultimately wanting? Because it's always a state of being that you are actually seeking. The interesting thing is our state of being can change without the environment. And we do have desires and needs. I am absolutely not ruling that out. What this is about is making sure that what you desire is actually coming from a place of being whole and complete. It would add to your life, but you're not pinning your life on it. You're not outsourcing your fulfillment on this thing because you can never do that. You cannot outsource your fulfillment. Your fulfillment is already here, and what you do is just adding flavor. It's evolution, it's moving through your soul growth. And the other question to ask after you, what will it give you? What's that state of being that you're really craving? This is how you understand how your ego is playing. You then ask, what do you believe you need to do to get it? If this is something that you are doing right now, it's pretty clear indication that you are running towards something you want from your ego. Because your ego is going to come up with something that it's got to do, something that it's got to be, all of these things that will come up to complete who you are before you get what you want, which is trickery. It's absolute trickery. Because then if you ask, what do I need to do to get love, fulfillment from a place of being whole and complete? Your answer should be nothing. This episode is probably feeling a little bit deep now that I've gone into it, but this is what's been surfacing for me. A deep realization that the ego is strong, even when you are on your heart-led journey and your soul-led journey. It has a way of creeping in. So just to wrap it up, this is not me saying don't go for what you want, don't have desires. That is not it. It is about becoming acutely aware of when your desires are about completing yourself and when your desires are coming from a place where you feel whole and complete already. As I said with the financial illustration, which actually turned out to be a good one, you can move towards something you want from a place of, so with the stability, the financial stability, from a place of expansion and wanting space, which is, I'm already whole and it's like kind of moving more. There's no lack when I phrase that. There's absolutely no lack. There's a total belief and assumption that the safety is already there. Versus when I anchor it from the ego, it's like I need to be safe, I need to be secure. That is an energy of completing what is not there rather than growth for the sake of growth. Sit with the things that you want from the two energies and see where your focus is. On one day it might be in the expansion, on the other day it might be in the completing, because on most things you're going to have these two parts operating. Where you want your focus in order to really truly move to the states of being that you're after is to be anchoring from your higher version. So if you think of a soul-led career, you could want it from an ego. Your drive might be, I need to get out of corporate. I need to be free. If you really truly sat with and reflected on it, they're all a running away energy. We find the pain point and then we want to run away from it. But if you anchor your search from that space, you're just going to perpetuate feeling trapped. Versus if you tap into your heart and your soul, and it's like, what is the soul-led career about? When I do that, for me, it becomes not about me. It actually becomes totally in service. There's like a community expansion. It's just becomes like an awakening vehicle that really, if I go into that energy, it's actually not got much to do with me at all. It just becomes a vessel. When I'm running my path and the business from my ego, I go into that energy and I can feel me like looking at how many people are responding or going to view this, or how are people receiving my words, blah, blah, blah. It's all validation. This is a totally different energy to be running things off, and really sit with that. You might find that this unpicks quite a bit because this has been coming up for me quite a lot. It's a realignment of what I really want, and what I really want, I don't really care about the accolades because I've had that and it still feels shitty. I don't want to chase that anymore because I want actual fulfillment, contentment, and peace in that state of being. And in order to be in that, you're anchoring off being whole and complete already. You are already all those things. And that will take work to come into feeling. And I feel it sometimes, and sometimes I'm just like, what the fuck? That is the human journey. We're going to ping pong between our ego, our heart, and that's the dance that we've come here to play. The more you become aware of the ping pong, the more you can anchor into the way that you want and really actually start to feel the states of being that you are really wanting. That's really what it's about.